going on, everybody? This is President EXE of the Enclave Unity, and we are back after a long hiatus, maybe a little too long. We're back with the Wasteland podcast. We're here with the man, the myth. He's probably killed you once or twice. The real Drago. Real Drago, welcome to the show.
Thank you, buddy.
So it's you are kind of a big name nowadays with 76, right? But the question I want to ask you is, how did you start off? Like, when did you start, and what did you do? Tell me about yourself.
When I started playing this game, I actually was more of a foodie. To be fair, I ran around with a cold shoulder, coincidentally, and honestly, I was still learning the game at that point. I didn't really know anything about the game, and I would do daily ops almost every day with friends of mine who were also like PvEers. So yeah, when I first started off, I was interested in PvP itself, but I had no idea what I was doing. So it was it was a hit and miss, big time.
And miss you say. So you brought up culture, so I'm guessing you started playing like what 2023, 24, right?
I started playing, and that was in May mid or late, like maybe mid May of 2023. So it's
May
just
20.
now, right, 2 years.
So you're not really you don't really have some more years under your belt, pretty much. But just surprising, man, because I assumed you were like at least like what 2022, 21 at least. It's just surprising. There's a lot of new voices out here nowadays. Man.
Yeah, that's very true, and I agree.
So with So, how did you get involved with the Blackwater Bandits? Like, who invited you? How did you get in there? Because they were a
I was a
group years and years before, and they came back. But
yeah.
when did you join at least?
I joined. It was actually kind of a longer process because I didn't like. I knew Piff and Mucho. I knew and Philibrized and Relic. I knew all four of those guys. I had met Piff one time through fighting, and I think Mucho wanted him to fight me in my play Drafterful. And Drafterful was the guy who initially got me into PvP. We met one time. We fought. Good fight. He beat me up 2-0. He 2-0'd me easily. But that I was already kind of in the bug of PvP, and then from then on, me and him we just had mutual respect for each other. I always we just bullshit each other every once in a while, text each other about stuff in the game, and eventually me and him became friends. And then at some point, he asked me to join the Backwater Bandits. Now, I will say at first I didn't want to join, not because of anything against Piff or anything like that. I've never been a big fan of large groups. I always kind of like steered away from that. But after hanging out with Piff and them for a long time, I'm actually glad I did because they were probably the best group I've ever gamed with. Period, flat out.
Really? Because I knew you at that time, right? And you knew me at that time. You
Yep.
were kind of like, I'm my own guy. I represent me. I don't represent anybody else. So, what made you switch? Because it's like, because I know I probably invited you to my team a few times, and you said no because that was when me and Beckus were palling around. We'll get to him in a minute. So, was it just like what made you switch, man? Because when I heard you join BWB, I was like, what? Because you seem like the type of guy who would just kind of stick by himself. Like you'd be friends with everybody, but you would never join a team.
Yeah.
You'd never join a cause.
Honestly, I think it's more of people's persistence. Honestly, I mean, at the
Look,
time,
I'm not.
it was
I
more
know when
so.
when somebody
Yeah.
tells me no, I know. All right, no means no. But
Yeah. But it wasn't that way. It wasn't like a disrespectful thing. It was like I know that he really wanted me to join, and at that time I was always had my friend group, which was Killer Taco, Drafter Fool, and Carts Chick. Well, right after that, when we first kind of started chatting about it, they all left the game, so it was just me and Brightback and JC, and JC was already part of. He was already in the Blackwater.
right back
Brightback
join later,
left a
right?
little while after that. Yeah, so Brightback left a little after that. It was just me and JC and Miss Maeve. Miss Maeve always hung around a lot. She was actually my empath mule. She always used empath for me. But then she kind of came into it too, and I was like, well, you know what? I mean, everybody's already in it. Piff really wants me to join. I game with them all the time, like Mucho, Piff, Grim, JC. All them, I was already gaming with them, so it's like at that point, it's like well, I'm already I'm already playing with you on a regular basis. It's kind of redundant. I'm not going to join the group. That way I can know who I can jump to. I can befriend more people in the game, get to know more people. Because I'm very sociable, as you know. I'm very sociable. I talk to just pretty much
Yeah, man, you're
anybody.
friends with everybody,
And
man.
yeah, so it's like at that point, I'm like, you know what, why not? Because at that point, they were helping me, I was helping them. So it's like, why not? Because these guys were obviously, they still are. I can still consider them one of the best groups I've ever been with. Period. And I play a lot of games. I've been semi-pro and a lot of different first-person shooters and stuff like that. So it's like there was not much, almost no toxicity in our group at all. So that's where I was like, yeah, I like that. Nobody was made to do this or made to do that. Because at BWB, we only have two rules: no scamming, no stacking. If you are found doing either one, you're out. No matter how long you've been in, no matter how close friends you are to anybody, it doesn't matter. That's two rules. We've already kicked out, I know two people, maybe three people since I've been. And one of them has been there a lot longer than I have, and nothing gets split personally, but he did scam, so it is what it is. He should have done that.
Really? Can
Mm-hmm.
you are you able to air these people out right now, especially if they have a bad reputation at least?
They really don't. One I think is correcting the scammer guy. The stacker was Loki. He stacked. He got caught by Clancy Jesus, and
Yes,
now
yes, especially because I know everybody on my circle were like, "Oh, BWB stacking bottom text, caught on camera 4K." You know how this community is nowadays. You know, like you fucking
yeah,
if you
he was
if
doing
you
all
fucking
that.
stub your toe once and you fall, that's fucking headline news. But
Yeah, yeah, they're right. Yeah, I know. I'm aware. That's the reason why we like to keep our stuff as clean as possible, and we don't allow that kind of stuff. If you get caught, if you do it and you don't get caught, and you keep doing it, you will eventually get caught. That's what happened with Loki, for example. And I have nothing against Loki. He just made a stupid decision, and that was wrong with him. Now we
surely,
didn't like go like, oh, you're fucking out. Like
yeah.
it was like a
So
nothing like
he
that.
was
We
like
kind of like,
a
I'm
repeat
sorry, but
offender. It wasn't like, oh yeah, for one fight he was stacked. No, no, no. He was a repeat offender, correct? Because do
yeah,
you make I make a distinction between like stacking if they're stacking or like once. Like you're good. It's kind of like meth. You try meth once, you're fine. But if you keep doing meth, eventually you're not gonna get out of the meth. You know?
yeah, you're gonna get addicted to not being like basically a
Yeah,
god,
because it's
and
like
that
when you stack, you're basically unkillable at that point, or at least it's very difficult to kill you. And you get in your mindset, oh, I'm the
yeah, it
fucking
does.
best. I can kill everybody. But nah.
To be fair, it does take effort to kill a stalker just because of the fact of abusing the
It's
glitch in the
fucking
game.
annoying
Every
killing it. For one, killing Stacker is the most annoying thing I've ever dealt with in this game. And listen, man,
honestly,
and that's coming
once I
from
learned how to
like
do it,
his thing, right? It's just like it's so fucking slow. It is so fucking slow. I hate it. I genuinely hate it.
bro, I can teach you some things. I can kill a stalker easily within seconds. It's
I
not that
used to be
hard.
able to during the Dragon meta, but then that doesn't exist anymore. So nowadays, not as fun.
Well, the thing is, when the melee meta came out, which I was already melee when it became meta, I was already a melee player. It kind of worked in my favor with that, and especially Piff and Lethal and all them, the Carnage, etc. All the players who've been around for a long time, who's always been part of metas. I, of course, been part of the one main meta of melee. Um, they all were seasoned enough and knowledgeable enough to know how to kill stalkers and how to deal
Yeah,
with them. I learned over time because I wore Thorn and used an Aristocrat's Power Attack Wood Strength chainsaw, which was the DOT. So I already knew that knowledge
yeah. Why were
beforehand,
you?
so it helped me out.
Hold on. Pause.
Mm-hmm.
So, like early melee meta. I'm not gonna cut that out.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Early melee meta, right? Early melee was kind of a clusterfuck, right? Why were you using an aristocrat? Because even like when I was like, people were telling me, "Oh yeah, do melee, it's good now." Why the fuck did you do aristocrats? Why not anti armor? Like why? Can you
well,
explain that? Can you explain that to me?
well, actually, is actually a really good reason. You couldn't roll your armor back. You couldn't roll. You couldn't have preferred rolls like you do now. So with the
Oh,
right
okay. So
armor,
you were like, all right, this is the cards I was dealt with. Might as well use it.
yeah, basically. But it worked out great because that knowledge helped me later on because as we all know, anybody who's fault stackers that knows how to effectively kill them, mutants and aristocrats are your two best rolls.
Could you just
Juggernaut
write
probably
that down
not.
real quick?
Because
Don't.
it adds to DOT. It don't add to ballistic, but it does add to DOT. So that's the reason why my brand now gets like 1,500, like in lower high 1,500s of DOT for 3 seconds. That's the reason why. I
Really?
was already used to that because I was using Thorn with Aristocrat. It just cards just fell in place for me because I didn't realize how strong Aristocrats was then. I didn't realize I thought Atomic was better, which it was. When it come to legit players, it was better. When it come to like stackers, it was better to use the Aristocrats even then. Because I was in Thorn with Aristocrats, Power, one straight chainsaw, and I was killing stackers a lot, like a lot more than I should have, especially in Thorn with one Sentinel piece and two Endurance and two fire, no, one fireproof and two cryo pieces. So it's like full assassins. Like even then, I was extremely tanky because of that reason.
Oh, okay, man. So you can really only say the only meta you've really taken part of was melee. I mean, you were kind of so were you kind of around for the post meta and the dragons and all that funkiness?
Yes, when I got big into PvP, the pulse meta was still raging. Yes.
Yeah, what was your opinion on that? Because some people really hated the game, but also some idiots loved it because it was so fucking easy to do. What was your opinion
That's
on that?
that's my take on it. It's not necessarily a bad meta. I mean, I guess you could say bad, but Bethesda doesn't cater to PvP. I
No
think you're right.
skill. It takes no skill to drop some
But
mine
yeah,
over
that's my
somebody's head.
thing. When it come to pulses, it was you're using the aimbot to shoot a grenade. That's not. You take a blight soup, you pop overdrive. Like, I mean, there's really not much to it. Like, I'm not saying there's anything
Yeah.
wrong with it. That's just that.
Dragon
That's the class
meta,
really
the
built by
Dragon Pulse
Bethesda.
meta, I liked because it took some patience, but it was also it's kind of more of a defensive play style, which is what I kind of cater to more. I loved
Yeah.
it, and I just love like man, we got that perfect shot off, and like you see the blue lightning come off, and you see him die in one shot, man. That's a good feeling.
Well, I'll put it this way: like Pulse meta, yes, it was probably the easier of the metas I've been around. I don't know about the
Oh yeah, like the
Gameplayers in the
grenade mine
past.
meta was so fucking easy, man. So easy.
Well, here's the thing: I'm not like I ain't gonna take it away from anybody, especially like people like Carnage or Buzzsaw, for example. I know they use pulses, and they were really good with them. They were really good with them.
Oh yeah, they were good.
You know, like
Yeah.
placing. So I give them props for that. But just as far as I was a super aggressive player. That's the reason why melee worked for me because I was aggressive. Obviously, kind of goes hand in hand. So like it worked out for me from that point. But yeah, the pulses was kind of like the to me personally. After I looked at all the metas in the past because I went through people's videos and looked at different metas, the pulse was kind of it was kind of the goofiest meta. But to
It
be
was.
fair,
And
it ain't her fault.
funny was
That's
like
Bethesda's fault. To be
the
fair.
community went from like this is like the post nut clarity of legacies, right? Everybody was fucking around with cry letters. They did zero damage. I don't care what people say. The fucking post legacy cryo meta was terrible. I don't know if you were there for that, but it was fucking awful. And then people started throwing
Yeah,
post
fair.
like how did I'm still confused how that was just like all right, everybody does this now. I guess it was like the only desperate thing that worked. But it's
Yeah, that's basically what it said. It's the hand that it was the hand that Bethesda dealt you. That was pretty much it. And people didn't realize melee was actually usable, and it was usable then. Even during the pulse, it
oh,
was
dude, no,
usable.
even during
It was
Legacy meta, melee was decent. I mean,
yeah,
the thing
it
is
was
though, nobody
better.
nobody fucking did. Not many people did fucking melee during Legacy meta because it's kind of hard to melee when you're getting fucking beamed from 100 meters in the air by an AC-130 with a TSC gap flash. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair because that just fits like right now. Melee still does a massive amount of damage, but so
Right
does
now, it's getting
atomic. So
overstepped
does
by the heavy guns and the commandos, which is for me like I know maybe some other older players, right, would feel the same way, right? It's kind of
yeah.
a good thing in our eyes, at least, seeing more variety, seeing all, but also seeing like some of the old weapons we used to use come back, like Teslas, laser rifles, and stuff like that. You know, obviously now gap plazas are fucking useless, but it's just nice seeing more guns at White Springs. You know, instead of just everybody using auto X, everybody
Yeah.
fucking spinning a circle. You know,
Yeah.
at
I mean,
least for
to
me.
be fair, yeah, I understand that. Even as I got bigger into melee, like the meta of melee, when I started getting like kind of a name for myself, I guess you would say, because I was fighting a lot. I started realizing later on, like right before Pounders, it was kind of at the point where like this is okay, this is getting bored. We need to change something. Even as a melee player, I can say that. Like this, like I enjoyed melee, don't know, love it, but it's like
It's kind of
we need
like
more. I
this.
agree.
Not to
We
quote,
need more variety. I agree. I
it's
agree.
fun,
We need more variety
but
now. But now I would say this. Now there's the meta now is weird because like the pepper. If you have a good build, like a meta build, the pepper shaker, the laser rifle, the holy fire, etc.
Tesla
They just burn
rifle,
right through.
and apparently
Tesla,
Gauss minigun
obviously.
because me and Lethal were doing stuff, and apparently Gauss minigun is gonna get up there.
Mhm.
Maybe it's usable, but it's
It's
not.
decent because like Bethesda when it comes to PvP, it's all about DPS. How fast can you
Yeah,
grab bugs
DPS.
and how quickly can you do
Oh,
it?
there's
That's the
a.
reason why.
Hold on. What the fuck? Who is this?
Shut
Hello. All right, let's continue then. DPS, right? DPS. Don't worry, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. Yeah, so it's all about DPS, right? It's all about DPS.
Yes. So yeah, it's PvP is all about DPS. How fast can you hit and how fast can you do it? That's all it is. That's the reason why melee was so meta because after everything was kind of technically nerfed like really hard, the only thing left was melee to actually kill people with, like to actual kill good players with. You can kill a foodie with a fucking pistol.
You could, yeah.
You can kill
But it's
anything.
also like
I watched.
the thing is dragons were still usable, right? But the dragon meta got basically fucking what's the word? Became irrelevant or fucking out of date because melee PvP like that build setup is like it makes you more tanky just by itself. Like you have more defense as a melee PvP. So it's
Oh yeah.
like the dragon crits and stuff did not hit the same because everybody was doing a lot more stuff, and obviously now with like the better armor with the Vulcan and especially the stacking epidemic, which we'll get into later, it's it really outclassed that meta because even like during early 2024, there were technically two metas you could do, either melee or dragon. Most people switched from who were dragon switched to melee. You know what I mean? And then it just immediately everybody did melee just because one, faster time to kill, and two, it's just like they couldn't get their fucking stick up anymore. You know what I mean, man? They became impotent.
Mm-hmm.
So with the
Yeah.
stacking, right?
Yeah.
Were you around during 2023 during basically the biggest power armor dupe imaginable, where basically anybody could get their hands on a god set?
Yeah. I
You
remember that
reckon?
very vividly. Yes.
And during that whole thing, right? I call it the stacking epidemic because when everybody has armor and has multiple copies of that armor, you can see where that's going. Which means that any idiot
Yeah.
can basically one, it's a good thing in my opinion, good and bad thing. Two, more people can PvP. It's great. I want more people to be in this community. I want this community to thrive, to live, to grow, all that
Yeah.
bullshit. But more idiots
Yeah.
get to come in, and when idiots come in, they ruin the fun for everybody. So it's like, what's your opinion on that,
Yeah.
or what's your opinion on more newer gen people such as yourself who get into this community, right? Because obviously I'm older. I've been here way longer. There's a lot of other people who've been here way longer. And it's just we noticed there's a clear difference in the player base. There's a clear difference in the way the community is then and the way the community is now. What's your opinion on that? At least, what would you
I'll be
say to those
honest with
people?
you. Once I got to the point where I was a decent player and I felt like I was decent at melee, I I pursued getting people involved. Because when I first started PvP, everything was closed lip. Nobody would tell nobody nothing. Card builds, food, boss. It wouldn't tell nothing. And I probably have pissed off a few people who were in PvP, etc. But I don't really care. My main focus has been for a while, and it is now my main focus because I don't PvP as much anymore. I still do, but like I don't do it like I did when I was like auto action a lot. And a chainsaw, etc. I'm sharing my builds because I want more people to see how it works and to see there is unfairness, but it's only unfairness when you don't have the same stuff. If you know where to get the armor, what armor rolls to get, what weapons to get, and where to get the food, that is like and the card build, like that's like 95% of PvP. The rest is just aid. Barry Mentat,
Yeah.
Psycho Buff, Coffee, Qualms.
Quantum's
And
a big one.
even now, you don't even need Qualms as much anymore. I mean, you can still use them; they're still useful, but you don't
Yeah,
need
it's
them to
not like
PvP.
during the pre-legendary PvP when you needed them for your life because during non-legendary PA PvP,
Yeah,
time to kill was very fast and you had to spam for your life.
yeah. Because like when I started, we're getting heavy. Because I never did PA for a long time. I never liked PA. I still don't like PA. I'm actually kind of glad in this meta to a degree because I'm out of PA again. I don't wear PA hardly anymore because I find it unnecessary. I kill faster outside of PA than I do in PA technically. It's about the same.
Is
So
there
it's
a
like
reason you would
there's no
say
reason
why,
to
or is
go
it
with a bigger
just
target.
like a personal thing?
You're a bigger target. You're a bigger target. That's it. You're a bigger target. I've never liked PA, and I enjoy PA, but I don't like PA. When I first got in PvP, I wore Thorn, and I refused to get in PA. It wasn't until I fought Piffles that I started wearing more PA. Until then, I
I
didn't wear
just think
PA
you can
hardly
take
at
a lot
all.
more in power armor. That's my opinion.
Yeah, you could tank. You could tank. But now back then, yeah, you could tank because like the only people I would wear power back then for was like Piffles or UDW or Lethal, obviously, like guys like that. Most people I didn't wear PA for because they didn't hit hard enough. Like that was just them not knowing what to do, what food buffs to get, all that stuff. They just didn't know. Because I mean, one tasty. Okay, I'll put it this way: if you're using a chainsaw, autolax, or whatever, you'll do a good bit of damage. If you take one tasty, mutant house stew, you increase your damage. Even back with a nerf, you still increase your damage over 200%. That's a massive amount of damage jump. Massive. You're literally doubling, or actually tripling it technically. So it's like people didn't know that. I didn't know that for a long time. I used golden steak. I didn't know about tastiness at all for a long time. So I can understand why people don't want to get in PvP because when you come into PvP and people already have all this knowledge, and for you to get in and not know the knowledge, it's going to take a lot longer. You're going to get beat up a lot more for a lot longer time before you actually learn. And
And
some
when they
people
get
just give
beat
up.
up,
I didn't give
it
up.
feels like one, I'm getting fucked with, I'm getting killed. I keep losing every time I
Yeah,
try. Why the fuck am I trying? PvP fucking sucks. I don't want PvP.
exactly. Yeah, they just give
Yeah.
up. They
They
get
think it's unfair. They think like
they get
everybody's
frustrated,
doing
give
some
up.
bullshit.
Yeah, they get frustrated and they say, "Well, he's stacking" or something like that. They just make up some excuse, and then they may think they're right, but they're more often not right. But that's fine. I understand why they feel that way. That's why I like to share my builds and give people some knowledge as best I can
All right, what
because
you
I
were
want
bringing up
people to
with
actually
like
learn
cars and
PvP.
stuff. Back in the day, man, if you had a build, you kept that shit to yourself, or you kept that shit to your close band of homies. Like builds were not
Oh yeah,
shared at all. Like it was either
oh
you
yeah,
figure
I
it out
know.
yourself or you know somebody. That was the only way you could make it. Because builds were a very
Oh
closed
yeah,
off thing. Because back in the
oh
day,
yeah,
man,
very
like a
much so.
build made everything. If you had the right build, you had everything. If you didn't, you
Oh,
struggled.
yep,
Because there was,
struggled hard.
yeah, yo, you struggled amazing, massive. Because there was back in the day, there really was no stacking because there was no legendary PA. I mean, yes, technically, there was that one glitch where you can have multiple power armor sets on a chassis at the same time, which was pretty cool. I think that looks a lot cooler than the fucking bullshit we have now. It just wasn't the same, and there was no legendaries too. You were naked. You were fucking naked. There's somebody here,
Yeah,
but you were basically fucking naked all the time. I don't know who that is, but hello. You're basically fucking naked, and I
yeah,
think I don't know. It's very different. It was times were very different. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not gonna get into too long of this rant, but times are very different.
yeah. Fair enough.
But hey, listen, that's why we're here. We're here to rant. We're here to talk, and we're here to yap. That's what we live for.
Hell yeah.
So with the Black Runner Bandits, right? Obviously, to some people, like yourself and some of the YouTube followers, cool group, everybody likes them, but they get a lot of hate in this community. Now, listen, I am
Oh
not
yeah.
a fanboy, obviously. People who know me know that. What would you say to those people who hold a negative stigma towards the group and just really want them to basically fucking tuck their tail between their legs and go back where they came from, you know?
Well, I mean, everybody's has the right to their own opinions. They don't get the freedom to tell somebody else how to feel. I'll put it this way: as me being a black woman bandit now, I'm gonna do what I want to do, no matter what. And if I troll you, if I kill you, and you can't handle it, you might not want to be playing a game. You might want to be doing something else because if you can't handle dying in a video game, I don't know what to tell you. I legit don't know what to tell you. That's crazy.
Just like fucking
Because you
take your
haven't died.
pacifier and go home.
Because okay, I'll put it this way. I grew up. I'm an older guy. I grew up playing games where
Yeah.
you died a lot, and that was nothing new. You expected to die when you played certain
Oh
games,
yeah.
and so it's like to
Especially
me,
like a
it's
PvP
weird that
game like
people
this.
don't.
Actually, see, like a P. Like here's the thing: people say like false. Okay, hold on. So let's finish this train of thought, and then we'll get into. I just thought something.
Okay.
So anyway, the Blackbird Bandits, good or bad, your stance, right? Obviously, you yourself are from the Bandit, right? What's your stance on this?
Whether they think it's good or bad.
No. Sorry, the people. Like, what is your message to people who basically fucking their entire existence is Bandits bad, Piffles man bad, fuck them. Like, what is your opinion on that?
I can just get over it. It'll be all right.
That's fair, yeah. But I think what
I don't. I don't. I
But the
don't.
reason why people
I
don't
don't dwell
like
that
your
hard on
group is
things.
just because, like, yes, you guys control. You guys fuck with people. That's great. I do the exact same thing. Let me finish the train of thought, but my screen just froze. So I'm gonna finish the train of thought, and then we're gonna continue. Like, I fuck with people all the time. If you knew me back in the day, you know how far and how much I fucked with people. There's a difference between fucking with people,
Yeah.
and the reason why many people say they don't like the Black Order Bandits is just because they feel like many of the problems with the PvP community right now are because of them. They see the reason why is just because. No, let me finish. Let me finish. Because a lot of people tell me
No,
this, right?
you're good.
And
You're good.
obviously,
You're
you
good.
can
I just
air
don't
all
want
your
to.
grievances or whatever responses. The reason they say this is because one, the way the community is now, it has shifted. It's shifted a lot, massively. It is very much so clout driven. It's very much so everybody is desperate to fucking get their name out there. Everybody's desperate to fucking get in the rat race, basically. And everybody feels like the Black Owner Bandits are the cause of that, you know? And many people kind of don't like you guys just because they feel like you guys aren't really the best for business, you know? And my personal stance with the Black Owner Bandits, right? And my group stance has always been like back in the day, we tried to be cool with them. We tried to be cool with you guys. But
Yeah.
Norman for and Mucho for no zero reason backstabbed me pretty much and fucked with me. When I didn't do nothing to them, I was always friendly with them. I was always trying to collaborate, trying to be cool. But then I got backstabbed. And a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel like they're just gonna backstab anybody. They're gonna fuck with anybody who doesn't really fucking bend the knee and fucking give them a blowjob. You know what I mean? And listen, I understand you guys gotta do your thing. You know, PvP and all that. I love it. And frankly speaking, the stance we have now, where basically it's just like, oh, just PvP. Who cares? You know, we're not friends anymore. That's fucking great. Because fucking more kills for me, more kills for you. Kumbaya, everybody fucking gets to jerk off, have a good time. You know. But to finish, basically, what is your stance to that? Basically, people who feel like who put all of the problems on the community onto you guys right now. What is your opinion on that?
I mean, I think that's a little overly gross, honestly. If anybody's ever had a problem with Piff or something like that in the past, okay, that's cool. But I don't speak on those things because I wasn't around. But when it comes to like us in general, our group as of now, as I see it, and how we work, we legitimately do our best to keep the community clean as possible when it comes to fair play, when it comes to stackers.
But what gives
Now,
you the
of course,
right?
we
What
have
gives you the
guys
right
that
to
troll
speak for everybody? That's the
again,
thing.
cheap
That's the
shot.
thing everybody feels like. What gives you the right to basically declare yourselves we're the big dogs now. Everybody got to basically follow our way. Pretty much, we speak for you now. Like that's the way people feel. That's the way some people feel. That's been spoken to me many
Eventually,
times. That's you know what I mean. Like that's the way I used to feel a lot when I was before I quit, pretty much, and I came back. That's the way a lot of people basically told me. Like that's the reason why they don't really like you guys anymore, or they don't really fuck with you guys. And it's also like it's because like they feel you guys are basically scooping up everybody, and you guys are basically going to be the next TSF, which were an old group that basically there were like 50 billion members basically, and it's like there's not going to be any competition because everybody's just going to join Blackwater Bandits. That's why everybody's pissed. Obviously, some people probably are just pissed because no, they're too successful. I want to be successful too. But it's also like they just kind of feel like you guys are just taking up all the good talent, all the competition. You know what I mean? They can't really grow anymore. You know?
Well, to be fair, I think I'm the last PvPer they invited. Really, when it comes to like PvP wise, I think I'm the last big one. They, I guess you'd say. I mean, that sound like fucking
Yeah,
egotistical,
obviously,
but
not to
as
show off
far
your
as
own
one
penis
of
or
the
anything.
moves, yeah, it was like I think I was pretty much the last one they recruited besides Killswitch, and I did that myself. I'm the one that recruited Killswitch, and then
Really,
Killswitch got kicked
because
out. But
I made the assumption, right? And I hope you made the assumption. You guys let anybody in who can carry an axe. You know what I mean?
oh no! We are way stricter than that. We've already had God, a dozen people in the last few months, and some people I'm very good friends with and have nothing against. It's just that when it comes down to who joins, it is a unison. Everybody has to say yes. It's not
Really?
like up to
I
debate.
never knew that because
Yes,
everybody just assumed like
yes.
you were just like, oh, we need more
It is
people,
unison.
or just fucking let anybody in. You know, more names, more people.
Before I came in, all the main guys, which you're looking around probably 2 dozen, have to say yes. So like
Really?
if
That's
I bring
interesting.
somebody, yeah, it's not it's we don't work off a we work off a democracy, I guess you would say, not a dictatorship. Piff will preach that all the time to some people in our own group. The people are like, can I do this? Can I do that? Dude, you're a grown fucking man. Dude, as long as you ain't stacking and scamming and being a piece of shit, we don't care. Like you can troll, do whatever. But when it comes to like recruitment, no, there has to be a unison yes. Because I actually joined the Battle Bats for a little while, for about 2 weeks. I got kicked out. And it wasn't because of anything I did. It was just a bunch of drama between me and UD.
Hey man, I don't know if you can hear me right. I gotta cut this short. Screen froze. I think you froze. I think everything froze. Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing some technical difficulties. We will be back with the show shortly. Anyways, we will be back shortly. Buddy, we are back with the Wasteland podcast. So, Jorgo, you were talking briefly about the UDW Blackwater Bandits feud. Were you around when that started, or like tell me your part in it? Because obviously, a lot of people know UW BWB were kind of going neck to neck against each other. Now it's like Lethal and BWB now. But like, what was your opinion on that? And then we'll get on like the Lethal stuff.
I mean, well, like me and UDW had a beef before that too.
Really? So here, so let's start from fucking page one. Tell me, so you had beef with them before BWB or while you're in BWB, and they got
Yeah,
pissed at you because you're in BWB now. So it was before.
no, before.
Before. Okay, so tell me about that. Let's go to fucking page zero.
Okay, well, I guess what kind of started that is I ended up being friends with Buzzsaw, Carnage, Glop, Yeehaw, etc. They ended up inviting me to their no rebar chat. Basically, it was like PvPers who didn't use rebar, who were clean fighters, thumbs up, etc. Which I always try to do that at all times.
Great.
Unless I just feel like trolling somebody else. But other than that, if I'm joking, yeah. But when it comes to actual fights, like somebody I knew expected a fair fight, I always get thumbs up. No cheap shot, at least not that I remember anyway. But if I did, I apologize. But yeah, when it comes to that, I always thumbs up, no rebar, be as fair as possible, use your qualums, use your coffee, etc. Yeah, cool. But like don't go hit somebody and then you hit somebody and they go over and start chainsawing you immediately or auto action you immediately and kill you. Like that's kind of a cheap shot, so to speak. It was like straight up meta PvP with fair rules. Um, basically, when I first joined that chat, I didn't have a complete build. I was actually running around with a one-star tank 113 and a one-star fuck you duds. And I was still kind of newer to the PA because I never really did PA much at all. And it took me a little while, but I eventually started getting really good at it. And I got where I could tank a lot better. Well, in the middle of that, they thought I was lag switching for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why, but they fully believed I was lag switching. And all it was is because, as Yeehaw himself actually said this, and then don't face against Yeehaw, good dude. He took a video and sent it to me, and he couldn't understand why I was insta killing him pretty much. And the reason why is back then, suppressors and tenderizers worked in conjunction. So basically, you never hit first back then, ever. If you wanted to insta kill someone, you never hit first. If they hit you first, their suppressor couldn't engage, so they couldn't suppress you. Their tenderizer would be active, yours would, so they would take more damage. So they would do less damage at first, and then you would do more damage, and they couldn't negate all your damage. Like I negated your damage by 20% right off the bat. But as soon as I hit you back, you couldn't heal through it. It was just too much damage. You couldn't heal. But since that, they thought I was cheating for that reason. Legit.
So they just
And
thought
that's
you was
just what it
pulling.
was.
They thought you was pulling some bullshit, and they got pissed
Yeah,
about that.
that's all. Yeah, that's legit what it was. Yes. And they wholeheartedly believed it.
Thing is, like
And
people
then when it,
like Buzzsaws or like Lord say, right? They kind of take things a little bit too seriously, right? Like they kind of get a little toxic. He gets toxic sometimes. Who doesn't get toxic? Like who doesn't fucking have an autistic spur guy at the game? You know what I mean? But I just think like players like
yeah,
that kind of take things too seriously.
Gotta wonder who else is out there
There's some people
watching
in the
us,
game
trying to figure us all out.
just like our fucking Gunner should make the game not fun. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, if you have like people fighting with egos, it can happen. Like I didn't take it very seriously. As a matter of fact, I renamed myself Hotspot as a joke
You did,
because I
yeah,
thought it was hilarious.
yeah. So like, why'd you name yourself that, bro? What the fuck?
Actually, that wasn't my idea. That was Piffle's idea because I used to use Hotspot a long time ago to game. I had to because of where I lived at the time, which I still live there now. But I got better internet. Obviously, I've had better internet for a long time now. But yeah, for a while, I used Hotspot because that's what I had. I didn't have good internet. Well, I think late last year or something like that, like last year. But anyway, I finally got good internet, obviously. And the bad part is it doesn't feel any different, coincidentally. But because I have 5G mobile hotspot, basically, mobile networking. But now I pretty much it feels about the same. The download time a little bit faster, and that's about it. But he said that because it was a joke. I used hotspot to fight. It was like so I just ran with it. I thought it was hilarious personally. So Piss like when I was changing my name from to BWB something, I was gonna be Drago, obviously, duh. But then he's like, you should change yourself. You should name yourself Hotspot. I'm like, you know what? That's fucking hilarious. I'm doing that, and that's literally how that began. That's how it happened. It happened because me and Jeff were talking and goofing off. That was it.
That's cool, yeah.
So instead of like saying I'm not lag switching, I'm not doing this, I decided to lean into it and make people think that because I thought it'd be funnier. To me, it
Oh
was
no,
funny
that
as
was
hell.
funny, yeah. Because people in like my team or like people who were like don't like BWB were like, oh yeah, man, like fucking Drago, he likes what he's on spots, and I was like, what the fuck? You know, I know that idiot. I fucking know you. I know you don't do that shit. But, like the people who were like bitching about it, but say you were doing that
Yeah.
shit. So
The funny
so
part, when it comes to PvP, I've always tried to keep it as clean as possible. I'll put it this way: if you're Katie Inkwell, I will cheap shot you in a heartbeat because he's cheap shot me a few times in the past. So yeah, I don't care.
yeah,
If
she
you're a cheap
does.
shotter,
She's kind of one of the
I'm
ones who
gonna
don't
treat
take things far. She's really a
yeah.
problem.
If you play like that, I'm gonna respond in kind. If you don't do that, I will refuse to do that. I will not do that. I try to keep things as fair as possible.
So Katie and Cole, what the fuck? Okay, this goes back to a few things. So let's start with Katie and Cole, and then we'll get into that. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have technical difficulties number two. It appears he has crashed. The feed will come back shortly. I have kind of thrown off guard. That's why I can't really think of anything witty to say. We'll be back shortly, everybody.